everybody, welcome to the Dad Challenge Podcast. My name is Josh. Today we're talking about a creator I haven't spoken about for a few years. Nikki Philippi has come out with a video called What I Learned from Being Cancelled. And if you don't know her story, it's quite crazy. Another child exploiting family vlogger killed their dog. It was a terrible, terrible, terrible story. It's actually interesting to see what has happened to an actual canceled family vlogger. So let's take a look at it. So a few years ago, Nikki Philippi did a video where she did an Instagram post where they were like spending the last moments with their dog that they were putting down because the dog had bit their child. They go on to tell you what happened. Now the dog bit the child because the kid was putting his hand in the dog's food, and the dog generally was never aggressive before this, but then just nipped the kid's cheek and then they put the dog down. The internet was aflame for what she was doing. She didn't have to put the dog down because the dog wasn't inherently dangerous at all. It wasn't aggressive all the time, never displayed those behaviors. It wasn't a problem. She could have just rehomed the dog. It would have went to a house that didn't have kids, right? And so everybody was upset. That was back in, I think, May. That was in May 4th, 2021, that video came out. And since then, the other videos had come up. They weren't going to adopt overseas because it would take too long and they weren't able to monetize it. It was like crazy. Nikki Philippi and her husband were the perfect cancellation. They deserved it every step of the way and lost almost everything because at the peak of their channel, they were pulling in bank. And again, this was way early on in my channel where, we were still talking about this stuff and she had popped up. So she's got 1.19 million subscribers on YouTube with how many views? 148 million views. Like, she's made millions of dollars on this platform, right? And now she's got a video which we're going to cover today, which is what I learned from being canceled, and that has 4.3 thousand views, and that was uploaded 3 days ago. She's not making the money she once was. Like, I Couldn't Stay Silent Nurse was fired for honoring a mom's birth plan. She's kind of pivoted to being a weird Christian grifter weirdo. This interview with Mickey Seal January 6th differently. I think she's getting a little bit political. I don't know. She has collapsed for all intents and purposes, okay? Because if we go back to 2021, which we will, I mean, they weren't making huge amounts of money, but they were 16, 17,000, 20,000 views. They're making decent money. Like, they were doing a steady, a level of money. They went from making 47,000 views, 33,000 views. This is before the dog incident. 35,000, 182,000 views, 1.7 million views. We have some really sad news, which is the one that they had to talk about their dog. So the most money they've ever made was talking about how they killed their dog. This is when it all changed, right? So 1.7 million views. They said, we have some really bad news. This is the video that we disseminated and we talked about where they killed their dog because it bit their child, right? And that got them the most views they probably had in their entire channel. Before that, you're talking 153, 123, 85,000, 65,000, nothing groundbreaking, but like a really decent living. As soon as that video broke, it went down to 182,000, then 68,000, 21,000. And now we're at the point where this channel is making 2,000 views per video. So she's completely a dead channel, and it's deserved. And this is what her channel looks like in the analytics. So this is the subscriber count since everything kind of broke back then. This is 2022. So it was at 1.23 million, and she was probably even lost since then because this is as far as back as this tracks, which is the view stats. And so ever since then, this is well over 2 years in the making. She's lost hundreds of thousands of followers, almost all of her money, because in the past 28 days, she's only gathered 135,000 views, which I think is too much for this lady, okay? 135,000 views is not nothing. Probably making a couple of grand a month still on that if people are still watching. But for all intents and purposes, a channel with 1.19 million with 150 million views, getting 100,000 views a month is a dead channel. So completely canceled, completely dead. And as soon as they killed their dog and everything else, all the other stuff started coming out about them. And it was quite an interesting thing to follow. She's on Fundy Snark Uncensored a lot. They got a lot of comments about what she gets into. If you put Nikki Philippi in the search bar in Reddit, lots of stuff comes up. So Nikki Philippi crunchy to far right pipeline. Nikki Philippi is at it again, but worse. Like a lot of craziness is going on. She's trying to stay relevant, and it's over. Like these people will never give up. They'll never give up, right? And hopefully they saved all their money from their child exploitation days and their family vlogging days. But it's basically she's over, and her husband are over, and she's still trying to grift. Even though she probably make more money at a job, I guess they're happy with this, and maybe they did send a bunch of money. Or maybe they did save a bunch of money in order to continue on this path. So it'll be interesting to look at this video, which is what I learned from being canceled. It's a pretty long video actually, but it'll be interesting to see what a real canceled vlogger has to say after the process. I think this is interesting anyway. So let's have a look at it.
Hi guys, so I'm gonna go ahead and jump into the questions just like turbo style right away because A, I'm trying to learn how to be more succinct, and B, we have to get low.
You're dumb. Nobody likes you. And she's got her dead cat in her cleavage. There, that's weird. I never thought I'd say that. Dead cat in the cleavage.
Swim lessons. So I'm going to jump into the first question. There actually are two questions that kind of hold hands, and someone asked, I feel like I've answered this so many times, but I still get asked this regularly, and that
why are you a dumbass and your eyebrows are crooked?
Was, do we have any regrets on putting down our dog Bowser in...
She does, and the regrets aren't going to be like, well, we miss Bowser. The regrets are going to be like, we lost our platform. The regrets are going to be like, we were making hundreds of thousands a year, and now we're not making hundreds of thousands. Those are the regrets. Because if she says she doesn't have regrets, she's a damn liar. Because at the time she did it, there were like a million comments about like, there's fans who would have been like, I would have taken your dog. There's other things to do except kill the dog, right? And coming from dog people, we were upset. Because the dog was not a dangerous thing. I mean, obviously, yes, it bit the child, but she's telling how it would pull out its nose, pull at its scruff, stick its hand in the food bowl. You just teach your children not to do that around animals, right? And the dog looked like it had just had enough. Because they were allowing this kid to torment the dog. And so, no, the dog didn't deserve to be put down. I'm sorry, like if a dog is inherently aggressive because whatever reason, then I understand that. I do get it, right? But this dog was not like that. And they admitted it. Wholeheartedly.
Instead of rehoming him, and then the second question I'll lead into that. It holds hands with that. And to answer that, like I said, I've answered it before, but I keep getting asked. And the answer, how many times can I say answer, is no. We do not have any regrets.
She's lying.
Actually been kind of part of what was so
when you know there were other options, you still don't have any regrets. Like why are you gonna lie? Like she has to say no, we don't, because she's like, well, if I have regrets, then people are gonna hate me more. You're already hated. Just tell the truth. You know what? Yeah, we have some regrets, because who doesn't have regrets about choices that they've made? Especially when it comes to dogs. She's like, you know what? You're right. Now looking back on it, we had fans that would have taken this dog. There were probably 100,000 people that would have taken this dog. Yes, we have regrets. We shouldn't have done that.
Trippy over the whole cancellation process in general is when you have something bad happen to you and you don't like the outcome in general, and then you replay the situation over and over and over and over, and every time you land back in the same place, it's kind of a little bit trippy, because no, we would not have rehomed Bowser if we could go back in time.
Why?
I've said this before, the only thing we would have done differently is either A, gone way back to the beginning of his life and gotten him training earlier in life when he was younger.
That's stupid. No, she's not going to explain to you why she doesn't regret it, why she didn't rehome him. She's not going to explain that, because there's no explanation. And the thing that pissed people off is that not even that. It's that they use this dog's last moment to like spend time and take Instagram pictures with it. Go watch my video on it. It's there. Just go watch it. And like they made a monetized post out of it and like just did videos about it, and that was the disgusting part of it.
Though we've spoken to so many experts, essentially people that have raised many dogs, people that actually work as dog trainers, and some of those people have actually said to us like, no, it wouldn't have mattered. Even the best trained dogs sometimes just snap. But I have thought that before, like I wish we had gotten him training earlier in life. But in terms of like not being able to switch that reality.
The dog didn't snap, by the way. Well, okay, yes. But the dog didn't snap and then turn into an aggressive thing for the rest. It was just like it had enough of this kid hurting it and doing crazy things to it. And it just like, dogs will do that. If you've been around dogs, like I have a lot of my life, a dog will snap at another dog that's, acting out. But it's not gonna, like my dogs will go to a dog park. Or Gus will be like barking at somebody and a dog will nip at him. I won't get upset because that's how dogs operate. Okay? They're telling you no. Even though the dog likely probably didn't mean to like break skin and stuff, it was just nipping and warning kid, get out of here. Because that's how a dog acts. It's how it behaves. That's their world. Okay? So the dog didn't maul and hurt. It just bit and nipped and it broke the skin. And then they're like, you're dead. So I don't care what kind of dog trainers you're talking to. Like, you're just trying to justify what you did, and it's not going to work here.
Fast forwarding, no, we wouldn't have done anything differently. That is what we had looked into doing at first when everything unfolded, and it became very apparent through conversations
that we couldn't make a post of him dying first. So what kind of post would they made of if they just rehomed him? No. They made a big deal out of it, and they got canceled and totally deserved it.
With an expert that rehoming him was not going to be the best or kindest option, not only for Bowser.
Yeah, kill him. Kill him's the kindest option. Off.
But also for the people that he would potentially be like put in their homes. Also,
that's a risk that they can take. You can give them the option. Hey, just so you know, this dog, bit my kid because these are the circumstances that it happened. But you assume the risk, get them to sign a contract, they assume all risk. The end. Right? Let them be the choice. Let them make the choice. There are lots of behavioral people that will take on dogs and let them live out the rest of their lives. And there's a lot of dogs with behavior. They don't all deserve to die. Like, sorry.
Guys, I have learned something through this journey. So
you're more of a douche than we all thought?
I thought for a long time that people just wanted him to be rehomed. And I thought, oh man, if we had done that, then people wouldn't have been so mad at us. Although, I guess I never finished the first thought backing up. I did regret telling the internet that, while I can't say I fully regret it because I do believe God works all things together for good, and I think
well, this all ended for bad, so he didn't do it for good.
Shielded us from the very obvious fact, now looking back, that was going to explode. In my flesh, I wish that I had never said anything.
Don't say flesh.
It's so obvious now looking back, and just was not obvious to us then. But where was I going with all of that? Something about rehoming. Oh, that's right. I thought that if we had rehomed him, that maybe potentially all of this wouldn't have happened. But I've actually realized now, going down this path, our chickens are trying to get out of the gate. Side note, I'm facing my chickens clearly. I've realized that people that literally worship animals, they wouldn't say that, but that's how I see it, which is going to lead us into our second question.
Oh, great. Here we go. You mean, what she's saying, worship animals? She means people who love animals. I know a lot of people get mad at me because I'm not a vegan and I'll eat beef, but I absolutely love animals. Like, I couldn't see how beef was made because I probably wouldn't eat it anymore. Like, I will pick up a turtle off the ground and help it across the road like we did the other day. Like, I feed the squirrels in my yard. I didn't want to kill the mice that we had in our basement because I'm like, oh, let's get one of those traps and let it outside. Like, that's who I am. But it's not worship. Great pause screen, by the way. It's not worship. I think just some people have inherently something, they love animals because animals, we are apex of all animals on earth. And so I think if you have something in your heart for animals and stuff, I think it's something kind of, I don't know if there's something in your heart. I don't know what that means. Empathetic. I don't know. I just love all animals. It doesn't matter what animal it is. I love all animals. That's why when I see bears with the ears, I'm like, if they're not friends, why are they friend shaped? I would have the audacity and I have the toxicity of being like, I can befriend a bear. I will befriend a bear. Okay. I will be friends forever. And wolves and shit. I'm that guy. I'm sorry. I'm so bad. I get upset if I hit a squirrel by accident in my car. Like, if I see a dead animal in the side, I'm like, oh, poor deer. Like, that's it. It's not animal worship, dumbass. So
they are not even happy with rehoming. I have realized now through having so many conversations with different people who did rehome their animals and had other people in their life shame them significantly, that these people that really worship animals see rehoming an animal the same thing.
No, they don't. You're just making excuses. No, you wouldn't have had as much hate if you just rehomed him and said, look, it's just not good for us here because my child is no good around dogs and this dog clearly doesn't like children. So we rehomed him to a special place, even a friend, so we could still visit him once in a while. Nobody's going to be upset with that. There are going to be more people going to be way more understanding than you making an Instagram post where you're like, last day with Bowser, and you just shoot him. Okay, people are going to be way better with that than the other. She's just making excuses, and she would never have known because she didn't do it.
Essentially, as rehoming a child, they see it as
no, they don't. That's stupid. You're dumb.
Something like just so wrong. Like you've given up on your child, and you're just saying, I can't take care of this child, and you're rehoming them. Side note: while we wouldn't use the word rehoming, I do think in the case of a person, obviously, right, the better option would be to rehome a child than put a child down. But
Yeah, you think? Oh, okay. Thanks for that clarification.
This is where the differences in that crowd's worldview and mine become glaringly obvious, and that is that I don't see humans and animals as being the same.
They're not the same, and nobody is saying that they're the same. You're putting words into everybody's mouth. Nobody said that. There are people out there who will say, I love animals more than humans, and I understand those types of people. I get that. Right? But that's not what anybody is saying. You're putting the words into people's mouths to justify your behavior. And we're not falling for it. Well, some people probably did, but we're not falling for it. Okay? If you bring a dog into your home, you've got a responsibility. You have to protect that dog. Okay? If you can't afford vet bills for a dog or a cat or a pet that you have, do not get an animal. Okay? If you can't afford to feed them, don't get an animal. They require a lot of care, a lot of love. I have 2 of them and a 100-year-old cat. And I love my animals like they are my family. It doesn't matter, but of course my children are more important than my animals. If the house is burning and I have a choice to make, it's my kids, obviously, right? I'm even thinking about during a zombie apocalypse, how am I going to take care of these dogs? Okay, because I got to figure that out too. And in my prepping, I have dog food, I have everything ready. So, but she's just trying to diminish what everybody was saying by saying, well, you wouldn't have been happy if I just rehome. Home. No, F off. You're lying to yourself and everybody else.
So that leads me into the other question that kind of held hands with that. And someone asked...
Stop saying hold hands with questions. Stop it.
And it was ironic because I was just talking to my mom about this the other day. Not this specifically, but kind of. They asked if I would ever consider going on the Allie Beth Stuckey podcast to talk about our experience in animal worship and what that really looked like.
Who? Trying to get herself on some Allie Beth Stuckey's podcast? Is that what she's trying to do?
Up close, because we faced that up close, as you know. And maybe you don't know.
So here's what she's trying to say. She's like, you animal worshipers out there ruined my life. Animals are not humans, okay? I don't worship animals. She's trying to tell you, because she's trying to attach this to the fundamental Christian she's become or has always been, and say, like, if you worship animals, you're wrong. No. Face? You think Noah was there? Do you think God doesn't love animals? Well, Noah brought them all out. They're a big part of creation. You stupid asshole. Like, you cannot diminish what you did by being like, well, you guys worship dogs. So what? Like, there are people who love dogs with all their heart. What's wrong with that? Those people have a lot of love in their heart. It takes a special person to love a dog. Dogs are awesome. Okay? F off. What are you trying to, how are you going to make this worse, you dumbass?
I realize I've gotten quite a few comments over the last year, and it's been shocking to me, of people that were like, I have no idea what you're talking about. Like, you were canceled. It was a good reality check to get those.
You don't see her view count?
Comments, side note, or it's been a good reality check, because when everything happened and just,
Don't forget to crop just her in the picture, Tyson. She doesn't need the whole video.
People calling my phone and newspaper outlets or news outlets covering us, newspapers. That's a little old-fashioned now. It felt like everybody knew. And so it's been a good reality. And
you wonder why people were upset? Like, she seems like, why were these people upset with me killing my dog? Let's take a look. Look, this is on people.com. YouTuber Nikki Philippi criticized after revealing she had family dog put down for being aggressive. Like, it was everywhere. Lifestyle influencer, blah, blah, blah. Philippi, like, she was everywhere. And she's like, she can't understand why are people upset? Well, obviously it upset people, so it is a reality that it existed. The upset was there. You can't just be like, why were you upset? Dog worshippers, F off. Like, just take it. Be like, guys, I was an asshole. I was wrong. I regret it. You would have way more respect from people if you did that. I promise you would. But even now, when she's completely canceled, nobody likes her, she still doubles down. It's a you problem, Nikki. Sorry.
Check, like I said, realizing that, no, not everybody knows what happened. So I was actually talking about this, the thought of having a conversation about our story with someone in a podcast type setting. I've done it once. If you didn't hear it, I think I linked it once. I did an interview with my friend Todd Herman. He's a podcaster, and we discussed our whole cancellation. And
sounds interesting.
It was crazy talking to him, because I have not talked to anyone else in a podcast-like format.
No one cares.
Around our cancellation and just everything that unfolded. And it was crazy to have that conversation and see how much he 100% understood why that unfolded that way, why it exploded that way. I mean, I don't know if you guys knew this, but I think it was at the last Democratic National Convention, there were people walking the floor and interviewing people advocating for the idea of giving a child tax credit to someone if they have a dog or a cat.
Okay. dogs. That's just being silly. Who cares if people advocate for weird shit all the time? They don't get it. Who cares? You think the Democrats are going to be like, okay, tax credit for dog mommies? Come on. Like, so she went full Republican, right? Like, that's what happened, or she always was, I guess? It just didn't want to reveal it until she was canceled, I guess?
So, we're living in a
Thanks for that.
completely different world now where people are viewing animals here in the West in a completely different way. And that is really a big...
Nope. Like, they've always been, farmhands. They've always been helpful. They've always been loved. They've always been part of the family as far as, in modern society, yeah? She's like, it's all different now. How's it? I mean, the only thing really... I guess I could say, because sometimes you see people at the mall with a buggy and you're like, oh, look at the little cute little chihuahua in there. I get that. I understand when people sometimes overdo it. I get it. Like Disney adults, I understand that. But for the most part, the rule is dogs are part of the family. If you got one in your house, it sounds like she hates dogs. So why would you get one then? Like, listen to her now. She's like, she'll never get another dog because like the dog ruined her life. But like, if this is how you feel about animals, why didn't you have one?
Part of it as well is realizing that like our cancellation was very much a westernized thing. In other countries,
well, where do you live? I'll give you one guess. In the westernized culture. So of course it's gonna be a westernized thing. Where you gonna be canceled in frickin' Jordan? Where in Turkey they're gonna cancel? Like, what are you talking about? What an idiot.
they literally eat dogs. Our dog slept in our bed for over a decade, and at the end of his life, it became clear that that was the path we needed to take. It was one of the most painful things I've ever experienced in my life.
But you don't like dogs, though, so that's weird.
That is a big part of what made the cancellation so painful as well. It was not just, oh, I'm being canceled for something. We were canceled for something that was so incredibly painful and personal, and figuring out...
But you made like Instagram posts about it and stuff. It just didn't... Nobody saw that. Maybe it was, but you were like, let's make money on it. And you were all like flexing that you're putting your dog down. Have you ever seen a documentary, Don't F with Cats? Okay, don't F with animals on the internet. Do not. Like... that you have a special place in the bottom of my heart where the fire burns for people who hurt dogs and exploit children. Okay, people who hurt animals or treat animals like shit. No, don't do it. Just don't do it, man. Kick a dog, or you treat them like shit, or whatever the case may be. Like, and you show it on camera. Like, there's something wrong with you when you just like that's. Look at every serial killer. They start by killing animals. Like the most innocent of us. It's crazy.
How to navigate that, and it was so unexpected. Like I said, we feel so dumb in retrospect. Like, you should have expected it. But it was so unexpected for us that navigating that already painful thing and then just having it blow up was just buck wild. But that being said,
buck wild.
Really would. I don't know this imaginary land. Like, I don't know why. I can't picture Allie Beth Stuckey reaching out to me to talk about this. But also, she does cover the animal worship thing, and I know that that's why this person brought that up. And I would totally have that conversation. I feel like as time has gone on, things have only gotten clearer. I've only become more like aware of that animal worship strain and culture that runs.
Okay, so what she's doing again is blaming other people. She's trying to deflect all the blame off herself for what they did and being like, this is animal worship and you shouldn't do it. Go f*** yourself, Nikki Philippi, dumbass.
Through culture, and I've become more confident, I guess you could.
Also, it's not animal worship to just treat an animal with respect and to like your kid was not treating the animal with respect because you weren't treating the dog or your kid. Okay? Everybody knows, like, if you don't put your damn hand in the food bowl of your dog, like I could, and my dogs wouldn't do anything, but like, especially if they get older and stuff like that, a little bit, get a little bit grumpier. But this kid, again, you have to look at the whole story. This kid was pulling the ears. This kid was treating his dog like shit all the time. And it was just a kid being a kid. It wasn't really a kid's fault. And you weren't doing anything about it until it was too damn late, and then you killed the damn dog. So that's the context here. It's not animal worship. It's just people being like normal towards animals.
Say, because I get hit with such horrible things online all the time.
Deserved.
That I've kind of gotten used to it to a degree, at least for where I'm at right now. So, there we go. Okay. So
wow. You got attitude.
The next question is, how do you teach your kids to be free thinkers, even if that means disagreeing with you? So, this is hard, right? You guys got to keep in mind, anytime anyone asks me a parenting question, well, actually, I feel this way even about things like a marriage question. Dan and I are like 18 years into marriage now, and sometimes when I get marriage questions, which I'm pretty sure I have one pulled on here, I kind of just feel like, whoa, I don't know, don't ask me. The answer is the grace of God. Like,
shut up.
Do feel a little bit like, I don't know. And I'm 18 years in, and I guess if I rewind, I would have thought that 18 years of a marriage was like so long. But I feel that way about parenting too. It's like, dude, I have a 5.5-year-old and a 14-month-old. Like, I'm a newbie parent, and I am deep in the trenches. I've talked about this in recent videos when I made my motherhood video that says like, it's not just you, or this is the part of motherhood no one talks about. I'm in the trenches. It's hard for me just in general, parenting littles, and you know, they both have a lot of energy. My son has a lot of energy.
Your kids have energy? Really, kids? Thanks for telling us tips, McGee.
You know, it's been hard because part of the whole free thinking thing, then also you turn around and you're like, okay, you want your kids to be respectful, and even though I don't love this word, though I do like this word, but you want your kids to be obedient, and I know that almost seems like the opposite.
There's nothing wrong with having to raise your children to be obedient to you. Respecting their mother and father, doing what they say, because we are meant to protect our kids. Your kids should be obedient to you. If you have children that run amok and run wild and aren't obedient, you're a bad parent. Now, that doesn't mean you should abuse your kids and do obedience and treat them like shit, but there is a way that you can raise your children to be obedient and to, you know, be free and to give them space to do things. But like, if your kids aren't obedient, everybody hates you, especially on flights. Okay, I just want to say that. Your children need to be obedient. They need to be brought up in a way of like, here's what's respectful. Here's some freedoms that you do have. And then as they get older, you know, I remember when my kids would turn around 14, 15, they started swearing, like saying shit and stuff. And I'm like, that's cool. I didn't say, you kind of let it happen, you know? But like, and you let your kids, you give them a little bit more leeway as they get older, and you can trust them more and stuff like that. I think raising your kids in obedience means that they're way more mature than kids who are not raised in obedience. And then the freedoms that they are granted later in life, they respect it more. I don't know. I remember being raised in like abusive obedience, where if I didn't do what I was told, I would get beat with a belt or a wooden spoon or a switch from the tree or whatever. And that's not the way to do it. Right. And then when the divorce happened, if you hear my story, when I was like 12 or 13, then there was no direction from parents, no protection from parents, no input from my mom. I just was left on my own until I moved out. I was 16, like 3-4 years later, I was gone. There was nothing. She no longer parented me. And then I was getting in trouble and doing stupid shit. So obedience from a young age, I think, is really important. So she's scared of that. I don't know why I say that. I'm just giving you some dad advice, but your kids should be obedient. You shouldn't shy away from that. Okay? Because it's way better to parent your kids that way.
Of free thinking, but like, you know, when you want them to, like, I don't know, if they're running in the street, stop, you know, or even just basic things like helping you clean up around the house. You
always say stop when they're sticking a hand in the food bowl of the dog.
Want your kids to be obedient in that sense, but I hold so dearly this idea of having my children be maybe critical thinkers is a better for.
What she wants to do is raise her kids in the far right wing. I know people consider me right wing, but I'm not. Okay, but that's what she's saying. Also, I wanted to show you guys this. Wesley got me this on Father's Day. It is a wallet. There was coupons in this wallet. Here are the coupons. Redeem this coupon for helping you with your yard work, and a coupon for helping you with anything you need help with. I thought that was cute. And on this side, it says, I love you, Dad, and it says, best dad ever. I love my dad because he calls me buddy. My favorite thing about my dad is that he is a podcaster. I think Wesley knows what a podcast is. I flex that every single day of my life. I think I'm a good dad anyway. I'm not perfect, but I try to be a good dad.
I want them to think things through. Mm-hmm. I want them to be aware of, like, how did I come to this decision? And so that, as a child, can sometimes be an exact opposition of obedience. And so it's hard to navigate, you know. We've had to really work through explaining, why there is a difference between us as adults and them, specifically my son. Obviously my baby doesn't talk, but like as a child.
Are we talking about cancellation? Let's get back to the topic.
Where he's still kind of learning and understanding that words can mean different things. Side note, that's also happening in his spelling. He's been trying to write a lot of letters lately.
Oh my God!
And not like letters like A, B, C, D, but like letters like to a person, like, dear mom, you're the best mom in the world.
You're not. No, you're bad. And your kid's gonna this is the thing about influencer culture too. And this is again another reason you should never put your kids on the internet, just because of what's the legacy you're leaving. When your kid is old enough to be a free thinker, like you're saying here, and he's old enough to see it and has friends and everything else, and for whatever reason looks back on who you are and sees what happens in the cancellation and the comments and everything else, that's a legacy you leave for your children. And I know you're gonna hate that. I know you already do hate that. I promise you do.
A lot of those letters recently, and I'll take them. Thanks, Logan. But we've been having to explain to him recently, on a side note, that's not a side note, like, oh, there are different ways. Like, some things mean some things, and they mean another thing. It's the same word, but means multiple things. Or like spelling, you know.
No wonder no one watches this bullshit.
There. So he's learning all those things, but the bottom line is, we really don't like dumb anything down for him. We expect him to rise to the occasion. Now, that's not to put
5
to anyone, because I don't know if he didn't have a natural inclination towards like language. I don't know, it wouldn't necessarily be fair to say we expect him to rise. There's a little bit there with like his just natural leanings, but I also think there is something there regardless of a child's natural gifting, because they're going to have to
so boring. Nothing you said there helped anybody.
We really don't want
Look
kids
at this watch tape.
who think like, no, there is only one way of seeing the world, or I think that they will be shocked. Like, we want them to know that there is a main belief of how we think that the world operates and functions, and that we believe there is a God, and that God sent his son Jesus, and you know, going through all of that, like what sin is, and how do you balance being a stay-at-home mom, staying active, being successful,
is she though?
And a Christian. Okay.
She's not successful. She lost everything for killing her dog and making an Instagram post about it. You think that's successful?
First off, I wouldn't necessarily say that I do balance it the best. To be honest, when I put these, like this question box up on Instagram, my post right before that.
Who asked? Like, genuinely, who asked?
She just puts the laundry on the bed. It's the most relatable thing I've ever seen. Here you go. Story time. I hate laundry. Okay? Because we put our washer and dryer on the second floor in our master bathroom because Kathy wanted that. I thought it was a great idea. I said, yep. I don't know why I'm just fam clapping, but I'm getting upset. What we should have done was take the office closet and wire up plumbing, wire up for a washer and dryer in there, then had that room, and maybe we still will do this, I don't know, but have that room as a washer and dryer / office / coloring room. Wouldn't that have been better? Because now my beautiful new bathroom that I took like 3 months to make, blood, sweat, and tears, lots of blood, okay, is just covered in laundry now. That's just laundry. So today, obviously, like what I do is if there's a load to come out, I get a basket, put it in the load, put it by Kathy's side of the bed, because that's when she knows that's the clean bucket to fold and put away in 6 to 8 business days, right? Then I put the wet laundry in the dryer, pop it in, put a new load in. By the time I'm done, there's like 8 loads of laundry done clean. And again, they don't get put away for days. And then what happens is the kids bring their laundry to my bathroom. So I'm always like, and it's always my sink that the laundry's in front of. Never, Kathy's sink's always empty, always clear walking distance to hers. Mine. And then like our walkway into our bathroom is a little closet. So like you walk to our bathroom, there's like my inside, I have a little closet door, and then Kathy's got the big open space where she puts all her clothes. Okay? It's just full of laundry. Like, can we live like Dorothy does and just wear paper clothes and throw them in the garbage afterwards? I don't know. Does that exist? Oh my gosh. Right? What's your, anybody have solutions? Again, I was thinking about like figure it out, put laundry in the other room. Again, you just put this much damn laundry, we don't get to see it. It's there, it exists. You also have a folding table in there. You can have like, you put baskets, holders on the wall and be like, here's your clothes, put it away nicely. I don't know, man. I hate laundry. And I know like that's a first world problem. I get it. But dang, story time over, because this shit's boring. I'm trying to entertain here.
I get little bits of time almost every day because my mom does take my kids anywhere from 1 hour to max 3 hours.
Are you shitting me? Your mom comes in and takes your kids from 1 to 3 hours per day? And you're complaining that you don't have time to be a mother? It sounds like you sleep your ass in because you're a lazy douche. That's what it sounds. Are you kidding me right now? F off.
That's like a maximum day. Usually it's somewhere in the middle of that. Like I'd say 4 to 5 days a week. So I get little chunks of time, and usually
nobody else gets that shit.
99% of the time when she has them, I focus on doing things that I could not do, or I could do, but it would be harder to do if they were around. I'm really strategic about making sure that, like, okay, if they're gonna be gone, they're gonna be down. Like, so right now, Logan is actually hanging out with my brother. They're making pancakes. And Lizzie, I've got the baby monitor, she is asleep. And so this, sitting and filming and talking to you guys, is something that would be much harder to do if they were up and running around.
Well, we don't want this. Nobody cares. Literally 2,000 views.
It's not almost impossible. So I utilize the time that I have without them to do things that I feel like I can't do when they're there. Or sometimes I'll use the time to do things I could do when they were there, but it's just going to feel much better having the silence. So
shut up. Who is this? Thank God you're canceled.
There is a whole lot of needing to give myself grace, because I honestly feel like...
Shut up. Okay. I need to give myself grace because my mom only comes 3 hours a day and takes my kids away so I can do whatever I want. And I don't have a real job. Shut up.
My life is this weird mix of, like, no matter how hard I try, I just can't seem to get everything that I want to get done. Like, not even close. And that is why in my darker days, I can fall into this mode of feeling like a failure across the board.
You're a failure.
Because I just don't feel like I'm ever getting done everything I want to get done.
Even when your mother takes your children for 3 hours a day? Like, spare us. Spare us all.
But then on the other hand, like when I'm staying in a more positive...
Why did you have more kids then if you can't handle it?
I'm
so sick of hearing influencers complain about, like, oh, I'm too busy. My nanny takes the kids, so, I have a night nanny, but I'm busy. Shut up, man. Shut up. There are people out there struggling so hard they don't have a mom to take the kids 3 hours a day, or a nanny or a night nurse or like anything like cleaners. They don't have any of that stuff. If I hear another influencer complain about their life and how after telling us how good they have it, oh my gosh!
Accept that A, I'm going to get done whatever God has for me that day. And that is continually my prayers. Like, Lord, you know what I want to accomplish, but help me be open to your plan and help me feel peace that whatever...
Stop giving me your toughest battles, God. You literally have to fold laundry. That's what you have to do today. Though I do see that it's a tough battle. I do see that.
I do today or tomorrow, whenever I'm praying, obviously, is what you have for me. That's what you had for my day, and help me to trust that your plan is perfect. You are working all things together for my good, and help me to walk in
Christianese
peace as I essentially walk out your plan for my day. And so I try to release it up to God, and I'm constantly trying to get better. So even though I can beat myself up sometimes,
you're failing.
Try to stay away from that, and I try to have this, like, straddle this line of grace for myself. Whatever God has for me is what he has for me, combined with I want to keep getting better.
What about the cancellation? Is that all she's gonna say? The whole video is typed, what do I learn from being canceled? She answered one question. Now it's been bullshit about her life that we don't want to hear about. This is garbage.
How do you discern genuine community versus people just wanting to be around influencers? So
you're not an influencer anymore. Nobody listens to you.
Oh, I have like 4 different thoughts around that. First off, I don't actually think I'm that, like, important or...
You're not. You are growing. You guys, over 1 million subscribers, though. That's not nothing. So they were a pretty big deal at one point. Now they're literally shitballs.
Famous to where people are going to be willing to fake an entire friendship with me.
You're infamous, though, now. You're not famous anymore. People know you for what you did, not for anything that happened before or after. Everybody now knows you as the dog killer / you didn't want to adopt a kid from, I think it was Korea, because you literally said they weren't going to adopt because they couldn't put them on the internet. She's like, and this is what we do. So they just canceled adopting a child because they couldn't exploit it. Don't forget that.
To, like, just be friends with an influencer. Like, I could see that if I was, like, really, really, really famous or really, really, really wealthy. Like, maybe that would be a thing. But I just don't think I'm important or famous enough for people to really do that.
You're not.
The first thing. Second thing is, I don't think that people hoping they can benefit from you as a friend, like whatever you have to give, I don't think that's the same thing as someone using you for that. Does that make sense? Like, just because if a friend is hoping that I'm going to shout them out on social media, that's not the same thing as them being my friend for a shout out on social media. You know, like, that would be pretty committed, and my shout out wouldn't be that powerful. You know what I mean? It just doesn't feel the same. Also, I'm not just friends with anyone. You know what I mean? Like, anyone. I mean, everybody has great stuff.
You're not friends with anyone because nobody wants to be friends with a dog killer.
And there is something I feel like you could find to like about anyone, because I've mentioned this before. I do tend to have a leaning towards, like, seeing the beautiful things that God has made in each person. But that being said, that doesn't mean I'm friends with everyone, and there are things I look for in friends. And also on that note, friendships are different levels, right? Like some people are really close. Some people are like your second circle, your third circle, your fourth circle. Like I'm friends with a lot of people. Does that mean that I'm super tight with everyone? Like, no. Also, I will say from all my years on YouTube, especially back in the day when I was in LA and I was around a lot of LA YouTubers, I met a lot.
Shut up. Man, holy shit, this is terrible. Okay, I'm watching this video here, and I want to get your opinion on it. We only post the worst neighbors. He's going over the fence, cutting down their trees. Oh, dang. What do you guys think of that? That's where my brain is right now, because this bullshit video is bullshit. What is she, what the F? I'm done. Let's go back to Nikki Philippi. So this is the picture she was taking with her dog. This is her husband, them being all canceled. And they still have the video on their channel because they're making money off it, see?
Hi guys.
Hi. We killed our dog. Hey. Terrible video. Absolutely bullcrap. Sorry about that. Hopefully I had a little bit of laughs in there, a couple laughs. That was garbage. But this cologne, gentlemen's, I think I got this when I bought wifey's cologne for Christmas for her, and they gave me one of these for free. Gentlemen, it's really good. Just get some of that. It's nice. Everybody take a deep breath because I'm gonna smell it. That's nice. Okay, so she answered one damn question in that whole thing. That's all we want to know, and it was garbage. And she just basically said, don't animal worship? Shut up, Nikki Philippi, you suck ass. That's the worst vlog ever. No wonder no one watches it. You wasted our time. I'm suing. Suing on behalf of all of us. Class action. Class action lawsuit against her being a total douche. Anyway, thanks for being here, even though these ones, you know what? Sometimes I think it's the worst video and you guys love it the best. So I don't even know what to, maybe you'll love it. I don't know. But I'm sorry if you didn't. I'm sorry I was bored. Like that was garbage. She's Judas or Jesus. I don't even know. I don't know what she's talking about. But you're awesome. Okay? You're not Judas. Thanks for being here. Someone has a huge crush on you. Don't forget it because you're amazing. And I'll see you when I see you.